New York Times frequent travel contributor Paige McClanahan, in her newly published book, The New Tourist: Waking Up to the Power and Perils of Travel, defines the new tourist as somebody who is not selfish, but rather more sensitive and aware of the people and places and the issues that are impacting both. This concept is not entirely new, but given the growing recognition of over-tourism, increasing environmental concerns, rising community pushback, and evident economic leakage, it is fitting to formalize changes that have been so far only outlined in various essays and articles. But here, I will add how far a new tourist can go if the destination which he or she is exploring is not doing much to conserve the finite endowed resources, or making any efforts to offset carbon footprint, or helping thrive local communities and preserving the heritage. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Adiba Khalid Jatoon, your moderator. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to today's session, where we will delve into the critical topics shaping the future of tourism. Today, we will discuss how destinations are moving forward strategically to integrate sustainability concepts in destination management and overall tourist experience. I have invited a panel of inspiring leaders who are working with great dedication to make our planet a little more sustainable. I extend a warm welcome to Managing Director Shabib Al Maamari from Visit Oman, Head of Industry Development Ethan Ali Zamanli from Azerbaijan Tourism Board, and researcher Devron Ishnazarov from Statistical, Economic, and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries, also abbreviated as SESRIC. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Now, let's start our discussion. I would like to engage with Ethan from Azerbaijan, and we will start our discussion. If we just see, Azerbaijan is an ideal tourist destination. It is strategically positioned at the crossroads of Europe and Asia. You expect a cultural and geographical fusion, which is also supported by a rich history that spans 5,000 years ago. But if we travel back in time, um, Azerbaijan started tourism really late. Um, uh, Azerbaijan gained its independence from Soviet Union in 1990s, and since then, for a long period of time, it has been heavily relying on oil and gas reserves. But then Eurovision contest song happened, and I would call it a turning point. And that was the point when the government itself realized the potential of Azerbaijan as a tourist product, as a tourist destination. So the world, for the very first time in 2012, saw Azerbaijan as a destination. And since then, Azerbaijan hasn't looked back. Azerbaijan, it's really impressive to say that over a very short period of time, Azerbaijan has become a vibrant tourism industry. So now moving further with the global trends, sustainability is at the core. Sustainability is survival. So Ethan, can you please enlighten us what is the strategy for development of sustainable tourism experiences in Azerbaijan?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm really happy. Uh, for that, I would like to, as you mentioned, that Azerbaijan has really huge potential of being the niche or the ideal new tourism destination. However, we do have really rich culture, also natural landscape as well in this new world as a sustainable world being the new sustainable development we we have started a new strategic vision with our action plans. I would like to mention first that it's really important for us our being a sustainable development and economic growth is included in our national priorities 2030 in government agenda. And in this regard, as a state tourism agency with the Azerbaijan Tourism Board has launched Azerbaijan's tourism strategy, and the sustainable tourism is the cross-cutting theme of this strategy, with involving the nine-pillar approach. However, when we have started with the sustainable tourism journey, of course, we started with the researching to understand what's the principles, what are the main principles, what are the real concerns about that, how can we evolve our destination, and how can we develop these sustainable uh, practices in our country. In that regard, we have realized that we need to start with the action plan, with is being one of the most principles that regulative approach to bring our country. Of course, uh, including the regulative approach, we had to involve the certification, standardization practices in our country, and involve the industry stakeholders to share our vision and the common practices, common sustainability values. I would like to say that sustainable in our the action plan of our regarding sustainable tourism involved uh, three different approaches and strategic uh, directions. First, the governmental, engaging with the government bodies and to provide the new legislative approach, regulatory approach, framework, and also to provide the initiatives to our industry stakeholders by to build new incentives. However, we are still on our work with the advocacy. We are doing our advocacy to throughout this to provide new incentives to the industry stakeholders. Also, we are launched and we are doing our new pilot projects to do the assessments in our regions, how can our regional destinations can fit the being the sustainable destination status, and also that how can we develop our this destination to build new sustainable management systems. In that regard, we have launched new northern region sustainable destination management projects, pilot projects. We have started with doing the assessment with the sustainable tourism principles. Also, I would like to add another point about that. We have launched. We are the Azerbaijan Tourism Board is a official partner of the Sustainability Basics, which launched by the World Travel Tourism Council. Hotel Sustainability Basics is one of the initiatives, the World Global Initiative that help to industry stakeholders to understand what's the sustainability principles and to start their journey to being the more sustainable, which we are understanding that there's a complexity of this phenomenon. Also, it's our job, our responsibility to help the industry stakeholders to involve to this process as soon as possible.
Yes, I would also want to congratulate Azerbaijan Tourism Board on becoming official member of WTTC recently, back in November 2023. I'll get back to you, Aitan. Let me have Shabib in our discussion now. Thank you for your insights. Uh, let's turn our attention to Sultanate of Oman, which is another remarkable destination with a rich cultural heritage and stunning landscapes. As we explore how modern technology is enhancing tourism experiences, I'd like to introduce my next question to Shabib from Visit Oman. So, people always mistake Visit Oman. Like the very first time when I discovered about Visit Oman, I thought that it's a destination promotion body. But to my surprise, Visit Oman, the Sultanate of Oman's uh, Visit Oman is a national travel operator of Sultanate of Oman and is pioneering the integration of technology in tourism. So, Shabib, my question is, can you please provide us an overview of how Visit Oman's digital ecosystem operates, especially in terms of facilitating the booking and management of travel experiences for both local providers and international travelers? I would want to know what are the key features and functionalities that make this ecosystem effective.
Sure, but I'd like to start by thanking you for giving us the opportunity and for hosting us.
Thank you.
Basically, the story that dates back to 2018. There was a gap assessment study that took place in Oman. We are known as a state-owned company, so we're a fully commercial entity that is expected to make money, but we're fully owned by the government. And the gap analysis that took place in 2018 basically looked at the ecosystem, as you rightfully mentioned, and identified few gaps that can be turned into an opportunity. And one of them was digitizing the ecosystem when it comes to travel. More specifically, we have a wonderful airline, Oman Air. We have a phenomenal airport, Oman Muscat Airport. And we have wealth of opportunity when it comes to transportation and different mini destinations within the country that tourists can explore. But it was all scattered, it was fragmented, and we thought this is a gap that can be turned into an opportunity by digitizing the entire ecosystem and the experiences that we have to offer, put them in a nicely developed booking engine, and provide that booking engine to the rest of the world. And why is this important? We wanted to make buying Oman, buying an experience to Oman, booking Oman easy. And we started off with developing a B2B booking engine that encompasses the entire supply chain within Oman that has to do with travel and tourism, such as airlines, airport services, hotels, and then ground transportation providers. All of these wonderful products are all uploaded on a booking engine, and customers, in our case in the B2B booking engine, customers are trade partners, existing companies that sell tourism related products. They can log into our system, find the product that they require, and book on behalf of their customers. Why we did it? We chose to do it this way from a strategy perspective, because the customers are already existing with these organizations, with the trade partners. So we don't have to reinvest in these, I would say, source markets. We just tap into it, tap into the great work of the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, and ride on that way. But we made it easy for these organizations to find the product of choice, identify it. All the rates are negotiated on their behalf, and we have what is known as quality assurance full-fledged team that would upload only products that are acceptable in our opinion. So we take the risk from all the trade partners and provide them the best product. On the other end, Ariba, you could talk about the suppliers. Why would they work with us? And we have a variety of different suppliers. We have very large organizations, DMCs that have been doing this for over 30 years. And we have startups that have been doing this for
Are these partners based in Oman? Are they nationals of Oman?
Yes. So the partners that we're talking about, the suppliers, are all the service providers in Oman. And then the trade partners are source markets that the government have targeted to basically market and get inbound tourism into Oman. And suppliers don't have to spend anything to become part of the ecosystem that we're providing. We do the business of, development on their behalf, and we take their product and we promote and we sell that product on their behalf. This is all done for free. We only get our cut if there is an actual transaction that takes place. We're digitizing the entire ecosystem. There are more examples I'd like to take you through once we roll out the other questions.
Okay, sure. Further, I would want to mention that recently in 2023, Oman welcomed 4 million visitors, which is a record breaking number. Currently, tourism is contributing 2.4% of GDP. And according to the 2040 vision of Oman, the goal is to increase this contribution to 10% of GDP. Ever since Visit Oman is launched in 2021, we want to understand how many bookings with full payment have been made and what does this say about the platform's success and reliability.
So we've launched the organization, the brand Visit Oman in 2021, but we went commercially live in Q2 2022. We're operational for a year and a half now. And that year and a half, we exceeded 150,000 visitors that were enabled directly through the platform and indirectly through the partnerships that we've created with over 70 different airlines and other OTAs, online travel agencies across the globe that are interested in selling products across Oman. One other thing that we enable also through our booking engine is digital distribution. So basically, we have well over 200 products and experiences that we have on our booking engine. But we don't only provide those products on our booking engine. We integrated with other platforms, global known platforms, and we're pushing those products to other platforms because the scalability with digital is the strength that we're trying to achieve here. And you could imagine, Ariba and colleagues, you're sitting, somewhere secluded in Oman, and you're trying to market an experience. It's our job to take that product, upload it, and then distribute it at scale on a global platform. And these are one of the strengths that the digitization basically bring to the ecosystem.
Thank you so much. I'll bring Davron in our discussion now. He's representing SESRIC. Today, we will delve into the transformative realm of smart and sustainable tourism, guided by SESRIC's recently published report entitled as Empowering Smart and Sustainable Tourism for Development. This comprehensive study illuminates the pivotal role of innovative technologies and strategic sustainability initiatives in shaping the future of tourism within OIC member countries and beyond. It highlights not only the challenges overcome, but also the promising pathways toward resilient, inclusive, and culturally enriching tourism destinations. So, digital transformation has revolutionized the tourism sector, thereby enhancing customer experiences and operational efficiencies. SESRIC's report highlights the integration of smart technologies in OIC countries for sustainable tourism development. Considering the diverse landscape of OIC member countries, can you please enlighten us, Davron, how can smart tourism initiatives effectively balance technological advancements with cultural preservation to promote sustainable tourism practices?
Okay, thank you, first of all, Adiba, for inviting us and for this wonderful question and wonderful introduction. Well, indeed, very important question. As you say, the technological advancements, digitalization have significantly transformed the tourism sector. It enhanced customer experience through making travel more personalized, engaging, also allowing travel companies to target the needs of the specific groups of tourists, which are including heritage tourists or which are in the group of bigger responsible tourists. And also allowed the city management to minimize negative impacts of tourism flows. As you mentioned, our recent research on smart tourism concept, where we also look at the positive impacts of integrating the smart tourism, which is broader concept that includes digital tourism, sustainable tourism, cultural tourism together. and how it contributes to preservation of the cultural heritage, as you mentioned. So first is enhanced visitor experience. So smart tourism uses technology to create enriched interactive experience, making cultural sites more accessible for tourists, more engaging. So this increased engagement helps to foster deeper appreciation of the cultural heritage by tourists. But primarily, I want to focus at data-driven preservation. So use of data analytics helps to monitor and manage the impacts of tourism on natural and cultural heritage sites. So this data and information strategies help to mitigate negative effects of tourism flows. So these sites are preserved for the future generation. Another aspects very frequently forgotten is community involvement. So smart tourism initiatives often involve local communities, empowering them to share their heritage, ensuring that tourism development is aligned with their cultural values and needs. So when you talk about the cultural heritage, we should not forget about the tangible heritage. There are also intangible heritage. So local communities are carriers of this intangible heritage. And OIC countries are significantly wealthy, as our colleagues, as Oman and Azerbaijan mentioned, have significant cultural heritage. As if I not forget the numbers, just in 2023, 11 heritage sites were recorded by the UNESCO. In total, in 2023, 25 sites were just registered globally. This is a tangible heritage site, which are include natural and cultural sites, but also intangible heritage sites. Around 40% of the global intangible heritage are in the OIC countries, something about 200 out of 600 globally. So in this regard, it is a integration of smart technologies, which are composed things, or integrated things of sustainable, cultural, all these types of tourism ensures the preservation of rich cultural heritage sites of OIC countries.
Thank you, Devron. As you mentioned that local communities are the beneficiaries of sustainable tourism, and
Yeah.
preserving the culture is equivalent to thriving the local community, is making them thrive. Aitan, sometimes local community can also be very challenging. You see, community outreach is indeed a vital skill for any organization that wants to engage with its stakeholders, customers, or beneficiaries. However, sometimes you may face resistance or skepticism when you try to introduce new ideas or methods to improve your outreach efforts. So we are really interested in understanding how does Azerbaijan Tourism Board overcome pushback on community outreach innovation.
Thank you. I cannot say that we have already overcome because it's we're still in the process. We have just started with our strategy initiatives, but in the same time, we can say that we have launched different directed projects in the regions, especially when we have developed our destination management plans. We have involved local community as well, local industries, which they are also representing their local communities. And especially in the different regions, we do have different various cultural or some ethnic minorities people that they are representing their roots and their local culture. In the same time, tourism can be challenged for them, and to accepting the different type of the tourists and therefore different in their dresses, or also including their how to say tourists can see observe their houses. Those issues are really big issues for the local communities in these special places which they do have the different type of the culture. and the mindset as well. However, there are three types of the directions we can say. There are different tools we can approach to with the local communities as well. In our regard, I mean, in Azerbaijan Tourism Board has started to launching new tourism products, which involves local communities as well. We can say we have started to renovate the ancient villages. For example, we do have the Baskal village. It's called Baskal village. State Tourism Agency has renovated that village. Before it was, we can say it was really ancient history in that village, but however, there was no community there anymore. But after renovation, people have started to again populate there and move there to start new their life, and the livelihood has become more enlarged, enhanced in this village after the renovation of the old stones, old houses. So in that example, you can see that how the government body or the tourism board can involve to the local communities' lives, to livelihoods of these areas as well. And the different aspects of we can start to talk about the ancient historical places and also the ancient roots that we have already corresponded to the UNESCO heritage sites as well. For example, Khinalish Reserve, we can say it's already a UNESCO heritage site, and also there is a special cultural transhuman culture in this heritage. So in this regard, there is a seasonal migrations. It's happening, the seasonal migrations. There are roots throughout the route, in the transhuman route as well. So these Khinalik people are really small community, and they're totally different from the other aspects of the different type of the society. And however, they also started to welcome tourists to as a guest to see their livelihoods and their lives, their communities as well. So to conclude, we can say that there are a lot of issues, a lot of activities that the government bodies can do to approach to the local community. However, within the framework that to guiding the principles about the sustainability principles, respect their cultures, respect their values, and communicate with them. Also, enlightening with their awareness. How can these people, how is important to involve this to tourism movement, and you can be the economic benefits to the, I mean, we can say that how is beneficial to these communities to involve this tourism industry as well. They can provide their houses, they can build their own businesses, new guest houses, which is really important, and also maintain their culture in the same time.
So I think local communities also changing with time. They are becoming self-aware, and they know if they become part of this inclusive of this ecosystem, they are going to benefit, and that is why probably they are giving their support for becoming the part of the ecosystem. Shabib, as you earlier mentioned about your about Visit Oman's partnership with many local tour service providers. Visit Oman is giving them an opportunity to market and distribute their unique experiences to a global audience. We are interested in understanding how has this initiative supported the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises, and what metrics do you use to measure the success of these digital efforts? Additionally, what criteria must travel agencies and tour operators meet to gain presence on Visit Oman platform?
So, three questions into one. I'll try to tackle it one by one. The most important is the SME empowerment, as we call it. And to give you a much clearer picture, I'll use an example that we're very proud of. We've been working with a group of ladies that started the hobby of tour guide. And then they decided to turn it into a business, and we got introduced to each other. These two ladies are very unique in terms of the product offering. They picked a very excluded area down south in Oman, in the far region, and they started working with the local community. They got introduced to all women inclusive groups that does hiking for fun. They negotiated with this group of ladies and convinced them that this hiking, the fun part of it, can be turned into an experience, and you could actually sell this to tourists. So we started working with these two ladies, and we developed together a product that suits to all women inclusive segments in the GCC area. We did a pilot and it was successful, and we turned it into an actual product that is uploaded on our booking engine and started marketing and selling on their behalf. But then they decided to expand that product and started meeting locals within the community that has nothing to do with tourism, but they started convincing them, like if you cook a meal for this tourist, that can be turned into an experience. If you tell us about your personal life, your history, your heritage, the trees that you grow within the community, this is an experience that are people who are willing to travel and pay for it. And they started meeting these wonderful individuals who are highly educated, but they still live in the village. They never left the village. They started training them of storytelling, turning their personal experiences to a storytelling, and then that storytelling turn into an experience. That experience becomes the product that we signed with them. Your other question was touching on the matrix itself. There are many ways to calculate. So marketing is a bit intangible when it comes to the value that we put, but then we take that on our behalf. And you could imagine, Riva, we participate and exhibit in all the major exhibitions on a global scale. We're very active in ATM Dubai, WTM London, and ITB Berlin. And we're now seriously thinking about exhibiting in France and Italy. Why these countries? Because the government have invested in destination marketing in these destinations. We're also looking at seriously at India, and then the next phase would be China. We also look at connectivity when it comes to source market. Is it easy to travel to Oman from this source market? And then back to the matrix. So the number of transactions, sales, the number of tourists that we brought, and then we do a lot of feedback also. And feedback is very important in our case because it touches also on the quality assurance. What we do with our trade partners, the buyers, is after they went through one experience, be it an actual product or a fam trip where they come and see the actual product, we take the needs of their potential clients or the feedback of their existing clients, and we tell them, how can we refine this experience? What else can we add to it? What do you think of the price range for this product? What type of cuisine would you like us to introduce into this experience? Because this matters also to these companies, and it matters to the end user, the tourist that comes. We take that feedback and then we give it to our suppliers, our partners here locally. And we tell them, listen, if you add these elements, if you change this, your product will be more suitable for this segment. Your product can be marketed more easily in this market. Going back to the quality assurance, we're very serious about this because there is a risk element there that we're taking on behalf of our trade partners with their end users, the tourists. We sit with the suppliers, and there is a very clear matrix that touches upon the HSE, hygiene, pre-COVID that became very important. And we also look at the price and the value of the product. Does it match? Is it too expensive? And we give that feedback. If they're willing to listen, then we start onboarding them. And I have a dedicated team that would go through the experience, be it a hotel, be it an adventure-related tourism, or be it food. They will actually test it and will give constructive feedback. If you pass that criteria, we sign you and then we upload you. But then the interesting part happens. We do surprise visits where we book just like a regular tourist, and then my staff would go as a tourist and would actually pay for the experience and go through it. And we did have some cases where we dropped off some suppliers because they didn't meet the criteria. Why do we do this? Because this is the element that touches upon business development on behalf of the trade partners, the buyers. We tell them you don't need to send your staff to test these products. We will do it on your behalf. And then we would safeguard the quality that you are seeking on your behalf. And automatically and by default, you kind of raise the quality of your product and your suppliers with the constant feedback that you give them. You tell them, listen, this is the feedback I've received. You need to refine your product. You need to refine your experience. And then we'll be able to collaborate and market and sell more to more clients, to more source markets.
Thank you so much for these insights. It was very helpful in discovering that how Visit Oman is so robust in improvising the entire experience. You see, tourism is all about experience, and if it goes wrong, the first time it is really gonna cost you, and the cost is not the visitors not coming back again. Let me bring in Davron again in our discussion. Could you please elaborate any specific case studies or success stories from OIC countries where smart destination strategies have only improved tourist experiences, but has at the same time fostered economic growth and cultural conservation within local communities?
Okay, thank you for the question. First of all, smart tourism destinations. It's as a concept, as a practice, it evolved from the smart cities, as you know. So along with the sustainability, preservation, you mentioned safety, economic benefits, it is central role is information communication technologies and renewable technologies and the planning of the city based on this. So from tourist perspective, as we discussed, the smart tourism destinations leverages technological infrastructure of the smart city to enhance personalized visitor experience. But from destination management perspective, it provides access to the data generated through using the infrastructure of the smart tourist. So this allows local public institutions make informed decisions. So it's something that links visitors with local organizations and in real time. Well, I would like to give as an example, you say the case study, the Valencia, because it resembled the examples of Visit Oman. There is a Visit Valencia. So this is a tourism, it is a city website, official city website of the Valencia. So Valencia is the first or among the first countries, cities globally that introduced STDs, particularly calculating carbon footprints. So if you go to the city, it's first of all, as we discussed, there is information on the tourism, on the sites, very accessible in a very friendly manner. Everything is there. You can book, you can rent, you can do all the arrangement, all the planning there. But also they have this app, for example. This is an app allows you to, based on your choices, based on what festivals you visit, what museums you visit, your carbon footprint of your accommodation, of your of the restaurant you visit, of everything, of the transportation. And this is not the aid for the preservation. Valencia also allows there is tips for responsible tourists. So as we mentioned that now this group of tourists, so we are targeting that group of tourists which are sensible. Yeah. So they have these tips how they neutralize or minimize their carbon footprint. And this is not it. The third thing is they provide the infrastructure for doing this. The starting from the entrance to the city, to visiting every places from transportations like bicycle or boats or others, they offer you a way of minimizing, bringing your carbon footprint to the minimum. Yeah. So in our just recent meetings of our colleagues from UN Tourism, just this month, it was actually a webinar. Kind of, they shared with us their findings of their recent survey. That well, we were discussing now this marketing, marketing of this ITCs. They're giving these digital options, also targeting that group, bringing them here. And there was very perfect example of Oman, so how they give this feedback and come back. This is very good. But there are many developing countries in OICs that are offering this perfect marketing, but in the location, when the tourists actually arrive, not all is as advertised as they suggested. Yeah, this is sustainable. So the tourism is a kind of thing, is not just a digital thing, it's a word of a mouth. So the tourist is not happy, he will not suggest at the minimum, and it is or he will make a negative impact on the overall image of the country, not even just the city. You understand? So, so this is it's better to bring these marketing strategies along with the city development strategies, countries development, national strategies. So you have a relevant infrastructure, so you have a relevant planning, and you have relevant economic empowerment of the communities, etc., etc. So to make it happen. There's another example, for example, the Tunisia, if you want OIC example. So there is not, it's not actually 100% STDs, but with regard to marketing part for this drone footage and providing visitors all the necessary information in a 3D and video manner, so they have all the information before coming here about how they do it, what they do it, where is what. So this is just the beginning. So this STDs, so the SESRIC report, this is for the future, how to say, planning of the OIC countries. So they will step by step bring back this other things which we can discuss also. This big data thing is working with data that will help you to actually preserve and manage your destination, so you preserve your cultural and natural heritage and intangible heritage and values.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can't agree with you more. The use of big data and business analytics is a game changer. It is showing promising results in understanding the visitors' behaviors and how it can further minimize environmental impacts. Further, Devron, I want to understand that how these OIC nations leverage artificial intelligence or data analytics to foster sustainable tourism practices while enhancing cultural preservation and economic resilience.
Okay, so this is, I would divide it, this is actually a very big question. When we address, first of all, there's on the site things, before coming to the site, and also in the on the site also there are several options. So first, I don't know how the academic perspective, but from practical perspective, I would say based on the data type, for example, primary data type, you can divide it as a secondary data, and then you can make a mix. And then you can introduce artificial intelligence and the things. So there are few internationally recognized organizations on this area. They who really develop methodologies and the practices on this issue. So the one, for example, let me give a few of them to understand it more comprehensively. So this is a Modern Tourism Observatory in Colombia initiative. So they are targeting to work both on primary and secondary data. When I'm thinking about the primary data, it's primarily big data. So one is they collecting this hotel data from hotels, hotel occupancy rates, average rates and prices, number of local visitors and guests, stations, business of the bus stations, and the arrival of the tourists to the city, exit to the city, this migration patterns. And based on this data alone, so this is just the secondary data, so you introduce integrated platform where you can collect data from hotels and taxis and bus stations. So they generally they report this data, and also how you can give, because in this integrated in smart tourism concept in STDs, so all the stakeholders should participate. So it's not just a state. So this private companies, bus stations, every taxi companies, they are actually interested in this, in the big cities actually. So they provide this data about the business of for example, of one station, or where the taxis are now. So how the hotel occupancy is high, hotels provide daily or in real time, they can provide so based on this, the city plans its activities. It redirects the taxis, suggests the tourists other hotels, like this. It is actually very cost-effective way. So there is another example, for example, Kyoto Tourism Navi. So they are actually, they introduced AI. So they have 3 years span, using 3 years span data on geolocation. But what kind of data? It's very exact data. So they have an agreement with mobile operators. So they get this, your location data, exactly where you are, in what place in the city, what location, how long you are spending. So they analyzing it so over like long time, and can you give a prediction beforehand using AI in 6 months how tourists will be satisfied, from using these services from this location, from that location, from that attractive places, from that cultural heritage, from that natural heritage. And this, then there is very much examples of the countries that use a mix of these things. They can also include the data like economic preference, how much they are spending, how much time they like, how much more they want to come to this, what they use. So all this big data together gives you the opportunity to manage, even from starting from before the tourists come, during the time, and for your future planning of the city.
Thank you, Devran, for your insights. Ethan, let's come back to you. Azerbaijan has regained full control over the conflicted areas in Karabagh, opening up significant opportunities for the tourism board to establish sustainable tourism in these newly liberated territories. Shusha, in particular, holds immense cultural and historical significance, thereby making it a focal point for these development efforts. So the question is, what are the restorative and development plans for the liberated territories of Karabagh, especially in Shusha? Please unmute.
As a post-conflict zone in the liberated areas, after the war, there are hundreds of infrastructural projects has been built in these liberated territories. It's all launched on 2 different very highway roads, as well as the different airports. Currently, three international airports are planned to launch, and two of them are ready and has already opened, and one of them is on their way. And these airports are really important aspect of the accessibility of these liberated territories to uh, be accessible for the visitors as well. And the uh, first activity was to designate the Shusha as a cultural capital of Azerbaijan, which has been a long time ago, as also was really huge, tremendous moment for us as well. Which the richness, higher richness of the Shusha, as brings us the different type of the elements of the cultural elements, so we have to preserve in this city as well. In that point of view, regenerative aspects of the tourism, we have started to analyze and develop new products for the Shusha as well, and for Shusha especially. However, in that governmental, there is a new law adopted for the Shusha and being the reserve center, and the new management system has established there. So in that regard, within the management system, with the obligation and responsibilities to preserve the cultural heritage sites, especially buildings there, and also to provide the infrastructure and also the different uh, products in this city as well. However, also in we maybe talk about the different liberated territories such as the Ardan. There are new v- developing the new projects with the for building new hotels there, and it's already 3 or 4 hotels has already started to build there, and new complexes, business centers has already opened there. So these infrastructure projects makes it's our main sources to build again and regenerate those areas, post-conflict areas. Also, it's important to say that very newly, actually, it's the new announcement that pretty new in this spring, in this new foreign visitors has been accepted to the liberated territory. So from the spring, government has eased their accessibility to these liberated territories, and the foreign tourists can buy their tourism packages and go there, go see the beautiful landscape in the liberated territories as well. So from the different aspect about the how can we incentivize to build new regenerate those areas, government has launched a suite of tax incentives effective from the 2023. These incentives include 10-year exemptions from profit tax, property tax, and the different taxes, as well as importing machinery, technological equipment, and raw materials to these areas in order to build new businesses, to be active as an industry in these areas, and to stimulate the local businesses and create jobs and accelerate an economic recovery in this region. Uh, in that regard, we are also planning to build new tourism recreational zones in these liberated zones and liberated areas, which is also one of the important projects that building new regulative approach to this tourism recreation zones. Can we uh, develop new special small businesses there and to involve local communities to enhance their livelihoods and their particularly their lives there in these areas. However, these efforts we can say they highlight generative approach to the regeneration in the post-conflict zones, and by integrating cultural, economic, and infrastructural development. And also not only building the physical landscape, but also the social aspect of the people and the economic resilience. Yes.
Thank you. Besides Baku, it's really delightful to understand and learn that so many other new regions are now being worked at and new products are being developed by Azerbaijan Tourism Board.
Thank
Let me bring Shabib back in the discussion. Uh, Looking ahead, what are Visit Oman's future plans for enhancing digital connectivity to support sustainable tourism? And how do you envision these plans contributing to the broader goals of responsible tourism and the sustainable development of Oman's tourism industry?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've done when we, even before launching Visit Oman, was to look at the country vision and then the country tourism vision. And we're part of a group called Umran Group, which is the investment arm of the government in tourism and hospitality, which also part of Oman Investment Authority. And we fully aligned our plans, strategic plans, with the country vision and then the country tourism vision, to the point where we pinpointed how are we going to contribute to the GDP of tourism, and that's a target, a KPI on us as an organization. And then what's the contribution in terms of job creation, because that matters to Oman. As you know, Ariba, 70% of the population is under 35 years. A very young nation, and job creation is a very important agenda when it comes to the government and also to private sector, and we're part of that sector. So when we look at everything we do, we ask ourselves, how is this contributing to job creation? How is this contributing to local SME development? And what else can we introduce that wasn't introduced before that creates or value co-creates with our different partners here locally? So to put it into perspective, our target for 2025 was to add 100,000 tourists annually to the overall country target, and to create well over 7,000 new jobs, direct and indirect, by 2025. And we revisit these targets annually, and we try to align according to the market. So the number that you gave, 4 million visitors in 2023, that's the government target for 25. So they're already ahead the curve, and they exceeded the pre-COVID numbers. We immediately needed to look at the number also and to adjust. If that number is attainable 2 years before its target, it means we can do more. And then we go through the cycle again. We look at the jobs and then the SME development. When it comes to digitization, I've talked a little bit at the beginning about the importance of digital distribution. I can't describe enough how important this element is, because it summarizes the power of digital and the examples that I gave of local SMEs that are sitting outside of Muscat area that has nothing to do with Booking.com or Expedia or the other big platforms. We do that on their behalf, and we create this opportunity to be present in the marketplace, in the global marketplace. And when you look at all the elements, the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism is in charge of destination marketing, and they're doing a wonderful job, in source market. But we, as Visit Oman and part of Umran Group, need to work on the product availability. Because imagine today you see an advertisement, and it's interesting to you, and you want to learn more. You go to a website. If my product and the product of my partner is not ready, for us that's a missed opportunity. The government invested in a destination marketing campaign. I need to make the product available not only on my platform, but all the popular platforms in the source market for the target group audience. This takes a lot of effort, but because of the power of digital, we're able to connect to well over 10 global booking platforms. We launched this initiative in Q1 of this year, and so far we're live in 10, and we're targeting to upload around 100 different experiences and products that are 80% owned by local SMEs. And this is part of our agenda for 2024 and beyond.
I mean, that is the bottom line, presenting the local experiences to the global travelers. And I think this is why people travel from one country to another, just to seek the authentic experiences of those destinations. And Visit Oman work is really, really impressive. I myself have browsed some of the experiences, and I was stunned at the diversity of the experiences. Like on one end, there is a cruising, on the other end, there is Arabian camp nights, and of course, there is no limit to these experiences. And at the speed and the pace and the speed at which you people are moving ahead, inshallah, you'll be more successful. And I really, really wish you that your vision 2040 is achieved, and it will be achieved with all the hard work that you all are putting into it. Ethan, very important question. With Azerbaijan hosting COP29 this fall, the nation stands at a pivotal moment to showcase its commitment to climate change. The Azerbaijan Tourism Board is seizing this opportunity to align the country's tourism sector with the global climate action goals that will be discussed at the conference. This alignment is really crucial for promoting sustainable tourism practices that support environmental conservation and offer a richer and you can say more responsible visitor experience. So the question is, how do you envision integrating sustainable tourism practices to enhance both environmental conservation and the overall visitor experience? Izin, you are muted again.
Sorry.
It's okay.
We can start with saying that we are witnessing a surge in the activities of the tourism industry and tourism communities, which are the transition towards the sustainability. In the whole the global agenda, we can say that in the different tourism industry stakeholders has already started their sustainable tourism journey and the practices and also. However, despite these efforts, global tourism still has a long journey ahead as to achieve a smooth and effective transition to achieve a circular economy within the tourism as a tourism value chain. And every stakeholder must uphold common values in these activities. So that was our main approach when we started to involve the tourism in the global agenda for the climate change discussions as well. So, of course, the fact that GHG emissions from the tourism sector are estimated to represent 8% of global emissions, with forecasts predicting an increase of at least 25% by 2030 if we continue with business as usual. So, we've urged to our governmental agenda at the COP29 presidency that's the one of the important elements that tourism has to be started to discussed by the climate in the climate discussions as well. So in that regard, it's really important and proudest moment for us that it's the one of the COP presidency achievements that tourism has has been included in the thematic agenda from this year on. So this inclusion was really important because that means that we can start to discuss about that, how tourism can really affect in a positive aspect or the negative aspect to the climate change, climate actions and the discussions about this issue that we are facing. In that sense, it's the issue that there is a pressing need to harmonize and align tourism initiative in the global agenda. So raising awareness of how sustainable tourism can have a positive impact to all the climate actions, that this is our main goal in the COP29, that we can convince to the people, to everybody, to all the stakeholders that tourism can have real positive impact to First, about raising awareness about climate actions. So it's our example for example, in our country, when we announced about the 29, before that, nobody knew about the climate change. There was really limited discussions throughout our country as well, especially in Azerbaijan. Of course, in the long run, we did have a lot of projects, but still in the community level, there were no very limited discussions about the climate change and effect in the world. But bringing the COP29 event in our country and as a hosting country, it was really huge, tremendous effect to for the people that they have just started to talk about that. What's emissions? What's happening in the world? Why the climate change happening, and how can we start to change our behavior? So in that regard, also we can say about the tourist behavior is one of the important aspects. We can see that there are a lot of issues that have already started analyzed and researched, and everybody knows how to do. But regarding responsible tourists, it's still in their early phase that hasn't developed yet in the whole the global agenda. We can say that because we have to raise awareness about the tourist behavior, to change the tourist behavior, and everybody has to know that how to change it. It's our main questions. What and how we can do this in regarding the as a government aspect, and also the tourism aspect, and as a tourist experience, tourist aspect as well. In that, we started also to address the already developed and launched the international instrument, tourism instruments as well. For example, Glasgow Declaration was one our main key landmark instruments to build, to continue what I've already launched in the COP area as well, and also to foster those instruments in order to see the real impact about those commitments, responsible commitments, and of course, in the regard of the sustainability tourism as well. So, in that sense, regenerative approach, collaboration with the whole industry stakeholders, measurement, which my fellow speakers also talked about how the measurement and the data collection is really important, not only about the building new tourism products as well, but also to measure how the tourism can affect to this climate change and climate actions as well. In the positive, in the adaptation periods as well, all activities as well, and also mitigation activities. The tourism is very transsectional sector, so that's why it can be developed in the different areas in the same time as well. So this is our job, that to convince people that we can spread this tourism everywhere by also involving the whole the awareness and the climate change, climate actions, involving with the climate actions as well. So aligning our initiatives with all the industry stakeholders, also to find the global, common table with the public-private partnerships, and provide the public-private dialogues, is our main approach to this the COP29 initiatives. And also we are gonna hold different events in the blue zone and also the green zones. We're planning to hold new events and about the whole tourism, sustainable tourism practices. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all our speakers for sharing your valuable insights, and to everyone, our audience who has joined us today for Sustainable Destinations Inspiring Leadership for Responsible Tourism's webinar. Your engagement and enthusiasm truly made this session impactful. Before we conclude, I'm pleased to introduce the upcoming inaugural Sustainable Tourism Forum, which shall be scheduled for 2025, either in last week of January or the first week of February in host country Pakistan. This forum is a unique opportunity to delve deeper into sustainable tourism practices, network with industry leaders, and collaboratively shape the future of responsible tourism. We invite you, our speakers, and our audience in this pivotal forum and contribute to the dialogue on sustainable tourism. Your presence and input can make a significant difference. Thank you once again for your participation today, and we look forward to seeing you again at the Sustainable Tourism Forum. Please stay tuned for more details and updates. Have a great day. Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.